Hello, this is Citi TV. My name is Nathan. Welcome to a special coverage of the 2023 GFA elections. After weeks and weeks of speculation and uncertainty, the elections did take place in Tamale earlier today for the positions of president and members who will be constitute or making up or who will constitute the executive council of the FA. They are essentially the men and women who will be running the FA, the highest decision-making group who will be running the FA together with the newly elected GFA president, Kurt Okreku. So we'll run through how we got here, how Kurt won. He ran unopposed, and we'll talk about the EXCO elections. Some shocking results have come out from that particular election. We'll try and get some more perspective on that as well and have a better understanding as to what these elections will mean for Ghana football. And we'll also talk a bit about the legal episodes or the legal circumstances surrounding this particular election. So if you want to join us on this conversation, send us a WhatsApp message on 0204 447033, 0204 447033. My name is Nathan Kwa once again, and my guests are ready in studio. Gabby Ofe of the Citi Sports Desk, Yaminta also of the Citi Sports Desk. Guys, thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you.
All right, later on we'll be speaking to some other colleagues of ours on the phone. Jerome Motri, our senior journalist, will be getting his perspective as well. And we'll try and speak to some football people, some insiders as well. We'll see if we can speak to the CEO of ASECEM, Kwabena Ejay, and then we'll get his thoughts on this entire election and some of the maneuvering and the politicking that have surrounded all of these things that have happened in Tamale from about 9 a.m. or so earlier today. So many thanks for joining us. We'll take a very snappy break. When we come back, we'll unpack the show, go over the results, give you some more perspective, and keep you informed on the 2023 GFA elections. Welcome back. This is still Citi TV, and like I said, we'll be going over the GFA election. This is a very special program. We'll be here for about an hour or so, just dissecting the results and going through a lot of the things that have happened today in Tamale. Guys, thank you so much for joining us once again. Let's lay the ground. So it's been a very interesting build-up to this. We've had demonstrations, protests,
injunctions,
your eye on that, injunctions, and all kinds of things. So let's start off with the protest or the demonstration. Yeah, you covered. What exactly were these demonstrators talking about as we built up to the GFA elections, which were held today?
Well, they registered their displeasure about how Ghana football was being run by the present administration of the GFA, led by Kurt Okreku, and he was predominantly singled out the whole time, like Kurt is killing Ghana football. You saw the placards that Kurt must go and matters on that sort. And the point is, they really wanted a bit of change. They wanted to register their displeasure about that, and on top of that, they wanted to register their displeasure about the disqualification of George Free from running for the GFA presidential seat.
Okay, so that these people who were protesting, are they members of the Football Association?
That's the thing. They are not members of the Football Association. Okay. And because you had the likes of Mickey Charles, who is the former CEO of Techiman City. Then you had gospel musicians, Nicholas Amania Champon, popularly known as Tabitha Kum. You had the likes of Great Ampon also participating in the demonstration. Then you had someone like Alhassan Yaya, who is the leader for the new Ghana Forum, Justice Forum. And then you also had One Man Supporter, the man who's popularly known as One Man Supporter. And these are not your direct stakeholders when it comes to football. And I was saying earlier on this morning on a previous show here at CNR Extra that the Ghana Football Association is an exclusive club, and that if you are not part of that exclusive club, you can register your displeasure, you can create awareness about how things are being done right or being done wrong. and you can make all that known to the entire public, to the entire world. But if you do not have accessibility into that small space, group of powerful people that we normally say are the football republic, unfortunately, there isn't much you can do aside protest and register your displeasure. Those people who are in Tamale and have earlier today voted for Ketokreku to be the GFA president, to serve for a second term as GFA president, those are the people who have the power to effect change or to maintain the status quo. And if you want to be part of that group, then you need to own a club in the Division 2 or be a representative of a club in the Division 2, Division 1, or the Premier League. If you are not part of it, then there's nothing that you can do. Even the government of Ghana can't do anything about it, because if the government of Ghana interferes with the affairs of the GFA, Ghana will be banned from every football-related activity by FIFA. And so the GFA is a private company that's operating in a very interesting space, because Citi FM, Citi TV is a private company, but we still fall under the laws of Ghana. But with the GFA, they fall under the laws of Ghana, but some way, somehow, they are still operating or tied to the umbilical cord of FIFA. And FIFA has it that, irrespective of the laws in your land, once you become a member of FIFA, you respond to our rules. And if you don't respond to our rules, you will get banned, you will get excluded from the association. And so the GFA is in a very delicate position, and to understand, they use it to their advantage, that we can do whatever we like. Only a few group of people can decide what we do right or what we do wrong, and there is nothing that anyone can do about it. Not even the Ghana government can do anything about it. So yes, the premise was that people weren't happy about how football is being run in Ghana. People weren't happy that Ketokreku went unopposed, and that George Friye got disqualified for that.
All right. Yeah, Gabby, I'll take your thoughts in a second. But let's get onto the phone line. Let's speak to Jerome Mochri, a colleague journalist, long-time editor of the Kotoko Express, and somebody who has a lot of interest in local football. Jerome, thank you so much for joining us, and good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Nathan, and how are you?
Hello, Jerome. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Good afternoon.
Hello, Jerome. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Good afternoon.
All right, Jerome, if you can hear me, your initial thoughts on the GFA's election. After weeks and weeks of uncertainty, injunctions here and there, the association went ahead to hold its elective congress in Tamale. Ketokreku has been kept as GFA president for the next 4 years, barring anything that will emerge. Your initial thoughts on how all of this has unfolded up until this point?
Well, I think it's been chaotic any way you want to look at it, because you would have wished that all the things that have happened in the last month or so didn't take place at all, such that people filed their nominations, there were no disqualifications, there were no threats of going to court, or people like Alaji Gusa would not go to court even questioning how the election was going to be done. I would have wished that we didn't have all that. But then you look at what has happened in the last 4 years, where we've had an association that to a large extent, have not stuck to their own rules. You would expect that people would want to seek justice elsewhere. And that's why we've had the litany of court cases surrounding this election. It's very interesting for me that the FA didn't feel bothered at all by any of the court actions and still went to have this event today. It's very difficult for me to call it an election, because if you are looking at that of the ESCO, yes, there were people contesting for various seats, and so there was an election there. In the case of the FA president, I would not call that an election. I have said that there was no contest. We shouldn't make it look like there was a contest and Kurt won. He had no competitor. He had people who were ready to acclaim him, whether or not they liked him, and that is what happened. It's very unfortunate because, see, where our football had been 4 years ago was more problematic than we have had it look like now. And you would have wished that we would have grown out of that chaos that enveloped our game in 2018. I don't see that as having happened because I think the system has been more divisive than a unifying force that will bring members of the association together. And I would wish that, I have said earlier in the day that I would wish that whether or not Kurt was acclaimed or he was elected, going into his second term in office, he would try as much as he can to bring everyone together because, you see, we need all hands to be on deck to run our game. How it has gone in the last 4 years, if it's going to go like that in the next 4 years, I don't think it will inure to the benefit of Ghana football. I listened to his speech. I mean, his speech after the acclamation. I don't think it met my expectation, but then you still have to give him the benefit of the doubt because they have given him the power to continue, and we will have to sit back and watch or wait and see how he goes about his second term.
Jerome, from the perspective of a football fan who wants football to grow, the average person on the street wants football to be better. He wants a better quality league, better quality pitches, national teams should perform well. In the last few years, that has not been the case. But the insiders, or the football people, quote unquote, seem to have voted massively for Ketu Kweku. Why do you think that that's the case, especially when we see very obviously that things aren't working too well? Why would the football people accept to keep Kurt in power in their numbers for another 4 years?
That has been the trend. And if you have followed our game closely over the years, and you have done that, I mean, in a long while now, I mean, for a long time now, you would realize that there's always a disconnect. I mean, there has always been a disconnect between what members of the public feel about our game and how they see it, and how the handful of people, I would say handful of people without any disrespect. I mean, they are just about 125 or 24 people who vote to decide on what happens in our game. There's always a disconnect between how they see things and how the public see things. And that is something that the current system must acknowledge and work on. Because, see, if you take our national teams, apart from the Black Stars and maybe more recently the Black Queens, the other teams have not done so well. We've had national teams that have been banned for years. For the next 2 or 3 tournaments, they are not going to participate in any competition. We've had other national teams that even when we hosted the under-17 competition here, we could not perform, we could not qualify. We've had other teams like the under-20 that are struggling to find their feet, the same as the under-23. And for me, the management of the national teams, it's not Ghana football. Ghana football are the things you refer to. The domestic league, for example. How does it look? If the people who follow the game tell you that it is not as good as we want it, and you don't see any real change, then it establishes my point that there's a disconnect between those managing the game and those of us who are following it. And these admissions will have to be made so that going forward, whatever informs this disconnect will be addressed, because we cannot continue the way we have done in the last 4 years. And I've pointed out that there have been some pointers to some good work. I mean, let's not make it look like everything Kurt has done is bad or is wrong. I think he has done some good work. It will be important for him to concentrate on that and do more in those areas. For instance, if you take women's football, anybody who follows the game will appreciate that there has been some changes. The changes I have seen in our women's football, for example, it's one that I will give all credit to the administration. But I believe more can be done. If you take the men's game, There's so much work to be done in that area. The level of investment is so low, and I would want to see how, for example, this administration will engage government so some money can be put into our domestic league. Otherwise, if we go the way we have gone, whereby when it's time for the Black Stars, everybody in the country wants to rally around them, to the extent that even the president of the land will want to lead a fundraising ceremony to make money for the team. So we qualify for competitions. But when it comes to the local league, it's nobody's business. Then we are not going to develop our game, because the life of our game is not in how the Black Stars perform, but how domestic competitions and other national teams collectively do well.
For your time, we really appreciate that. We've been speaking to Gerald Motri, colleague journalist, and for many, many years, editor of the Kotoko Express. Guys, and he's been highlighting all of our thoughts, really. He shares all of our sentiments. And that disconnect, which is very obvious, between what we all see in terms of how the local game looks like and what the Football Republic see. How they see it.
Sports, this is a quick one. Sports is a reflection of society. And in our society now, in the grand scheme of things, how do we see our politicians? That they are disconnected from the realities that we are going through, to the point that when you go to the market and you say that market prices of food stuff are high, then you have a minister go take a picture of some food stuff that he bought and he says it's 100 Ghana. When we clearly can tell that when we go to the market, that amount of food stuff that was bought does not amount to 100 Ghana. It is almost 3 times, 4 times the amount of 400 Ghana. It shows that there's a disconnect, and it is reflecting when it comes to our football folks. So clearly, sports is a reflection of society. And what Jerome said, he's right on point, that there's a disconnect between what the ordinary stakeholders, the supporters, the fans, want to see happening, what they expect to see happen, and what they expect the football folks to do. They are not seeing it, but they do not have the power to make those changes. And those who have the power are not effecting those changes. Rather, they are more or less rubber stamping the way things are being done. So that is where there's the disconnect. Expectations and getting actions done.
Okay, Gabby, let me bring you in. You've been quiet. We know the context in which this election was held. Injunctions here and there. King Faisal had one. George Free had one. There were other people who wanted to do that. Why would the GFA still go ahead and run an election when there are all these impediments, quote unquote, in their way, or warnings against holding that election?
Okay, so today is what? October 5. Yes. Ket's first term in office will end on October 25.
Okay.
Now, the GFA, the election committee are aware of the interlocutory injunction placed on the election. One from King Faisal and one from George Free.
Okay.
King Faisal's case have been adjourned. I think that's the 3rd time, and the case has to be heard on October 12th, together with George Free's case. So, from what I pick up, or the intel I gather, is that the GFA do have 2 options now. The first option is to go ahead with the elections, and the second option is to wait for their tenure to end. It means that they've now created a vacuum, and so they don't have that power or whatever to be holding certain positions in the GFA premises or space or that kind of thing. And going ahead with the elections, it means that it's a contempt case, and whatever the judgment or whatever the verdict will be from King Faisal and George Free, they are ready to face it.
I see.
Yes.
That's the information you get.
That's the information I've gathered. And it means that Ket's lawyers or Ket's entourage or whoever makes up his team are ready to face King Faisal or George Free's camp. That is if the verdict comes out. So I think that they had to go for the latter, which is just go ahead with the elections and then wait for whenever the verdict, because October 12th is just some few days away. Just about 7 days more. And that's going to be very interesting, because it means that there is a lot of drama that is going to spill out. And this can go on and on, depending on how the case would unfold. That's Kim Faisal's case and George Efie's case. So, I mean, it's very interesting. And see, one thing that I picked up, if you look at the way they handled this whole election, I was looking at, because as at yesterday, a lot of people, when I say a lot of people, a lot of top journalists in the football space clearly did not even have an idea that the election will take place. I actually had somebody texting and was like, is the election happening today?
Okay.
Because if the election has to happen, you have to see a certain vibe around it. Even for we, the people in the media space, who want to cover it, you have to see an accreditation out for journalists to apply and to cover. But you look at the way all these things have gone under the radar and have been silent, it means that the GFA clearly do have an idea of what they were doing.
I see.
You get it? And also, people raise questions about why they took it to Tamale. Now, according to the GFA, they are saying that it's a space that has brought out top football talent, and so they want to what?
Spread the love.
Exactly. Show the people of Tamale some love. That is why they had to take the elections to the whole place. So, I mean, it's really interesting to see how the next few days will unfold.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's get to the line again. Let's speak to Kwabena JB Obeng. He's CEO of Asekem FC. Asekem FC is a Division 1 club. Now, by virtue of being a Division 1 club, they are part of what we usually describe as the Football Republic. They are members of the FA, and Asekem FC also got to vote today because they are members of the Ghana Football Architecture. Kwabena, if you can hear me, good afternoon. Many thanks for joining us on Citi TV.
Nathan.
Hello, Kwabena, can you hear me?
Yes, Nathan, I can hear you.
Yes, thank you so much for joining us. Good afternoon. I hear you are coming back from Tamale.
Yes, I'm on my way back to Kumasi.
Okay. How was the election? Let's start from there. How did things play out for those of us who were not there, or for the people who did not experience the election? How was the entire process from start to finish?
Okay, Nathan. Let me say good afternoon to your cherished listeners. For me, I traveled yesterday to Tamale from Kumasi, and in the evening, most football people came around. We had a chat about the way forward when it comes to Ghana football. Today, being a representative of Asekem Football Club, voting in Division 1 for 3 representatives, I would say that for our level, we're happy with the 3 guys that we got to represent us. If you look at the guys that we voted for, the vice president, who is an existing member of our level, and 2 other guys that came in, Eugene and Gideon. They are new faces to represent us, and for us, it's a good thing because the blend between the old and the new. Hopefully, these 2 guys going to represent Division 1 are going to, help send some of our messages across to the FA, so that I would say that we can get more sponsorship when it comes to football financing. Because at the end of the day, if you look at how football is playing out now in Ghana, it's too much money. There are too many things coming up for us to do when it comes to club licensing. So the debate today around was more like we should slow down on some of the things we're trying to do just to please FIFA. But all in all, it was a smooth day for everybody that came to represent their clubs.
Okay. You spoke about the new faces on the representing the Division 1 on the Exco. There was a very huge, let me say, change, because we do know that Sami Enimado wanted to stay on the Exco as a rep for the Division 1. So from the results that we are gathering, are we to assume that those who did not make it, one, you were either not satisfied with their work, or you did not think they possessed enough skill and enough ability to represent Division 1 on the Exco?
Okay, so what I gathered, with the vice, obviously he's working with Ket, and if Ket was, overwhelmingly won the election, then it would have been a bit difficult for him to lose, because he was helping Ket to to do football in Ghana. And so for him, it was going to be easy. So he got, I think, the highest vote, 32. And the two new guys that came in, with Gideon, he represented Zone 3. Okay. And Zone 3, there was only one guy that was on the ballot. Zone 2 had 2 guys, Zone 1 had 2 guys. So for him, it was going to be easier for him. And with, I would say with Eugene, he's an old guy when it comes to football, like Division 1 football. Okay. He's represented Dambos before. He's represented so many clubs. And today he was representing Sodoro Blacks, which is a Zone 2 club. So it's somebody that knows his stuff that people voted for. But with Animado, you know, Asakem just joined last season, and I didn't have like more interactions with him. I knew Gideon, I knew Eugene. With Makado, as I said, he's somebody that is helping kids do Ghana football. So for me, I would say that I can't tell too much why the old guys decided to vote against Animado, because they voted for him the last 4 years, and this time around, I don't know why he lost.
Final question to you, Kwabna. There were lots of there's some legal uncertainty, or there was some legal uncertainty concerning the injunctions, King Faisal, George Friye, all of those things. Now, as a member of the association, when you think about these things, are you concerned as to potentially what could happen? The court says, okay, what you guys did was unconstitutional, go and do it again. Are you concerned about what potentially could happen down the line? Or it's a matter of we voted, we just want to do our football business and move on?
Yes, of course, I'm concerned. You know, in all over the world, everything when it comes to everything we do is about laws. You cannot do anything without having laws backing it. So if these guys had issues and they took those issues to court, if they have, the court decides to say that, okay, you know what we did was wrong, well, there's nothing we can do as football people. And you know, the reason why some of us decided, I decided to go to Tamale and go and vote, is about the fact that there's been too much uncertainties when it comes to Ghana football, and it's hurting our game. For example, you employ these boys to play for your team, or you're helping to unearth talent, and something like this comes up, and these boys won't be able to train, won't be able to play football. We are at the service to these guys, because you know football is about age. When your talent expires, there's nothing you can do. So sometimes I believe that people that have grievances should find a better way of us sitting on the round table and solving the problem. So I would say that I'm concerned, but hopefully they will allow us to move on and play Division 1 coming Friday.
And all the best, and have a safe drive back to Kumasi.
Sorry?
I'm saying that thank you so much for joining us, and a safe drive back to your base.
Okay, thank you very much, sir.
Right.
Thank you.
All right, so that was Kwabna Ejebi Obing. He's with Asekem FC. He's the CEO. They are quite fresh in the Ghana football environment, and they are trying to do big things.
Recently shipped in some 3 players to Hearts.
Yeah, they've given some players. You know, I think Kakari, Martin Kakari, and two others. For our viewers, we'll get into the conversation around what exactly took place in the fallout, because in every election there are winners, losers, there are outgoings and incomings. So let's start off from the very top. We do know that Keto Kweku was kept in his job. He didn't have a competitor. Ultimately, George Friye wanted to contest, but it looks like he could not meet the threshold, or he wasn't eligible enough. So Keto Kweku got to stay. Guys, I think that was a bit of a no contest. Eventually, Ket got to contest alone. Remember a few months ago, before the election, there were these rumors that this would happen.
I mentioned you go unopposed. And his backers also, and people closely associated with him, said that it would happen. Yeah. So,
and I don't know, Mr. Kwai, if you remember on one other show, That's Football Meeting, and I told you about the fact that I always felt like Kate was always going to go unopposed, and it's happened. So, I mean, there's no surprise to that. He was always going to to retain his seat, and
Okay.
we've seen it today.
But the shenanigans associated with
To
him
it, yeah.
retaining the seat, I honestly believe they were unnecessary. Because look at what is happening now to Ghana football, especially when it comes to the Premier League. For the first time in years, we have a team making it all the way to the money zone in the CAF Champions League. For the first time in years, we have a team making it all the way to the money zone in the CAF Confederation Cup. Things are turning around for the better. Look at what the Black Queens are doing. Look at the new breed of players who have breathed new life into the Black Stars. At this point in time, as we speak, the man who divides opinion, who splits opinion so much with the Black Stars, that's the Ayew. He's been dropped because he's inactive.
Maybe it's just a temporary.
No, yeah, I get it, but he's been dropped, and because he's inactive, and many people saw it like it was a form of collusion, that it was a form of wrong that a guy who is inactive gets to play for the Black Stars.
Okay.
But with this recent call-up, he's been dropped. So if you have all these good things going on for you, why do you engage in bad narratives, bad optics, and these unnecessary shenanigans to, in quote, eliminate the opponent, the opposition, and have you run unopposed? Honestly, I believe that it wasn't necessary. He had the support of the football people. He had an overwhelming support of the football people, and he didn't need to engage in all these things. And why I am confident that he had the support of the football people is because of the executive council, the voting, the executive council vote, how it went, especially at the Premier League level. All of Okreku's guys, they won at the Premier League level.
And not to cut you
Okay.
out.
So what was the whole point in going through all these things, cutting George Freer off, knowing very well that we had precedents where in the 2019 GFA elections, Amanda Clinton made a similar mistake, and she was allowed to run.
Okay. We don't have too much time. So Kurt Okreku, 117 people voted for him.
Yeah,
two said no, one abstained. Yeah. I'd like to know who those two people are who said no. Let's have a look at all the other people who also got elected. Gifty Owari Mensah, she went unopposed, so she's also a new executive council member. I think she's there for women's football.
Yeah,
women's football. Randy Abe and Frederick Champon, they retained their spots on the EXCO. Those are insiders, those are Kes
boys.
So,
exactly.
So yeah, that's
not really surprising there.
Look, Nano
Safo. But the biggest one, one is Kwesi Appiah, James Kwesi Appiah, former Black Stars head coach. Yeah. He gets to join the executive council. These days his place is full. Yeah. He's Asante Kotoko IMC member, technical director, member of the EXCO, now Sudan national team head coach. I wonder how
he must be really a happy man to hear this, because if you look at the last few months, how it has turned out for him. Yeah. Like he mentioned, he's serving on the IMC, he's head coach for Sudan national team, and now this. My only biggest challenge is that it means that now there's a lot of people are looking forward to see what he would do on this EXCO seat, because it means that he gets to work with experienced heads. There's Randy Abe there, there's Nana Safo in there, Frederick Champon. And you look at Kwesi Appiah, I mean, he's a well-known personality in the football space, especially with what he's done with the Black Stars and everything he's done in and around things. So I just want to see how he juggles with his new role on the EXCO seat and also the IMC and the Sudan job. That's a lot of work for him to do. So, I mean, that's really interesting. All
right, we do know that Eloy Amande, one time broadcaster, sports journalist, he was involved in a tie with Kingsley Osei-Bonsu, and then in the runoff, Kingsley Osei-Bonsu won by 12 votes to 6. 12 to 6. So Eloy Amande's bid to be on the EXCO did not work out for him. Let's move on and have a look at the Division 1 positions. Who got to be on the EXCO from Division 1? How many people were supposed to be here?
So we had 5. We are supposed to get 3.
3 people. Yeah. So Gideon Fosu, Akosombo Crystal Palace made it. Peter Mark Addo, he also made it there, and Eugene Amon-Noel of Danbot FC, and that was the person that Kwabna mentioned. Yeah. So Gideon made it, Mark Addo made it, and Eugene Amon-Noel also made it. The biggest surprise there is Samir Nimado. Now, Samir Nimado, well-known manager for Asamoah. He was an instrumental part of Kurt's cabinet. Let me put it that way. But surprise, he scored the lowest, scored 13 votes, or he polled only 13 votes. I wonder what may have happened.
Yeah, I think something might really have gone wrong for him. Because I was telling you before we came in studio that you look at the last few months, it's not been the best for him. He's been involved in an accident. I think he lost his brother, and this. I'm struggling to understand why he had to just get this number of votes. And if you look at, because I think that his time on the Division 1 league, I don't think he did bad at all. I think the people on the Division 1 league might have seen something else. Or because you look at Noble, he's an experienced head in the football space. I think that is one of the things that went in favor for Noble, and he had to get on that space. But it's a really...
we'll have to dig and find out because I'm being told...
You have to get him speak.
I'm being told that there were some inside workings that that's the info I'm hearing, that the Division 1 people did not fully trust Samir Nimado, and that they felt
to champion their
message. So what, after 4 years?
I don't know. I think that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm hearing, that they did not really feel that he was fully on their end. That's the speculation I'm hearing. But it is a huge surprise because I figured that he was well known.
He's a Kurd guy.
Kurd guy, very popular in the football space. And we've seen him do a lot at the lower division. He himself is highly involved. He represents a club and all.
We've seen him a lot of times involved in this U17, KGL Championship, and that's where he's what best known for, to nurture talent. So I'm really surprised he had to get just 13 votes. I think something must have happened.
13 votes.
Yeah, something must really have happened.
That's huge. That's huge.
But to touch on a little bit on what Obeng said.
Yes.
You see, there's always the chance to find the middle ground.
Yeah.
So yes, you don't want to hold up the system with all these interlocutory injunctions, postponements, and we have to halt the start of Division 1 football, Division 2 football, and potentially we have to halt the Ghana Premier League and all that. But at the same time, you go ahead with the elections, but you, the delegates, you have the ultimate power to effect the change that you want to see. So you can enjoy both worlds. You can go ahead and have the elections minus all these pauses and delays. But you can go ahead and have these elections and also make your vote count and effect the change that you want to see. So you can have the best of both worlds. And unfortunately, our folks did something different, looking at what the masses want to see. They don't want to see Kurt go unopposed. They don't want to see Kurt continue as GFA manager, as GFA president. They did something different. They went to vote to keep him as GFA president. But now there's also the potential backlash that you could be, you could get strapped in a legal tussle that could end up halting everything. Because let's say we go to the court on October 12th, and the ruling is that yes, you are in contempt of the law.
So we take up the elections.
So we take up the elections, and everything you did is null and void. Can you imagine what we have to go through again, and the repercussions? It will be utter chaos. So you can have, like I said, you can have the best of both worlds. They had a chance to have the best of both worlds potentially, but at this point in time, they've already done it. So we look to see how the verdict will go. Looking at how confident the GFA, the Ketokweku camp was and is at this point in time, broadcasting it, telling about the location, because we've lived in this country where a GFA election was conducted, where it was conducted under the guise of darkness at dawn, where even the location of the elections wasn't known.
Yes.
But with
even those who were going, they didn't know where they were going
to have the elections.
On a lighter note, let me add to you. So I was talking to a colleague of mine in Tamale. That was yesterday, around 8 p.m. in the night. So I just wanted to get him tell me what was happening there in Tamale. And as at that time, what he told me was that, look, my brother, if I tell you where or if I've seen any sign that
there's
this
a GFA election
would happen, I means that I'll be telling you lies. So it had to just take this morning for it to start. So it boils down to my earlier submission I was making that things really went under the radar. It was really quiet.
Okay.
They just wanted to hold this off everybody's eyes, and clearly
But at least
they
they
did
brought
it.
it to light.
They brought
It's
it to
better
light.
than what we experienced previously.
All right, guys, as we wrap it up, Kurt went unopposed. He's won, barring any. So, I mean, for our viewers, those are the people who are on the who have been elected on the EXCO. Kurt is there, Kurt Okoeko is there, Gifsewari Mensah, James Kwesi-Appiah, Frederica Champon, Dr. Ransford Abe, Kingsley Bonsu, Nana Odro Safo. Very interesting man. Mark Addo, Eugene Noel Amon, and Gideon Fusu. So these people are the executive council.
Yeah,
Yes.
the most powerful group in Ghana football.
In Ghana
and
football.
unfortunately, I love the fact that Kotoko managed to get a vote in there, has a seat on the most powerful body in Ghana football. And it's a shame that Accra Hearts of Folk, the representative, got disqualified. So imagine that.
Who was it? Alaji
Akambi.
Yeah.
So imagine that James Kwesi-Appiah had missed out. That would have meant that the most powerful groups, the most powerful clubs in Ghana
would not have
a seat on the most powerful football membership group in Ghana.
All right,
that
guys,
would have spelled doom.
As we wrap it up here, next 4 years potentially for Kurt, barring any unforeseen circumstances, what would you want to see from him very quickly as we wrap it up?
Well, I think I expect him to do a lot better than he's done in his first term. A lot better in the sense with our national teams. No, let me just even put the Black Stars aside. I think that the league is not in the best of shapes. Look, we go to the stadium to watch games. It's not pleasing to the eye. I tell somebody that we cover it because we are journalists and we have to cover it and produce stories. But for an average Ghanaian who would want to enjoy something, Kurt must really look into that. The junior national teams, I think that those are the places he must work on to make things a bit okay in his second term.
So for you, youth football and the league, quickly,
Just the
as
league.
we wrap it up. For you, just the league.
Just the league. Because if the league sells and the league is well run, the players we are craving for to be produced locally, they will just come automatically, organically. If the league works, everything just flows. So for me, it's just the league. We need to have a proper league happening. We don't need all that chatter, unnecessary chatter about discontent for how we run our league. The GFA, the newly formed GFA group board, they should posit themselves to create that narrative or to create that perception that we care about the league. When you look at the league and when you hear the narratives, even from them, who are the main stakeholders, it's one of apathy. So if you, the main stakeholder, you are apathetic to your own main product, why should I, a man or an individual who's on the outside, be interested in your product that you don't even care about? So that's what I honestly expect him to do.
All right, we'll wait to see what will happen, whether or not there will be any legal consequences. But as things stand, Kurt Okoeko has been maintained or re-elected. There was actually no election. He was acclaimed to stay on for another 4 years as the big man in Ghana football. We'll keep an eye on ensuing events, but as things stand, the Congress in Tamale has ended. The GFA has chosen a president for the next 4 years. It has chosen members to represent the different blocks to make up the executive council, and those people will take decisions for the betterment or otherwise of Ghana football. My name is Nathan Kwao. I did this with Yao Eje Minta and Gabi Ofe, Jerome Otri, and Kwabena Obeng joined us on the line to also share perspective. Many thanks for watching, and expect more news in our subsequent programs and bulletins. And as and when the news breaks, we'll be right here to serve it to you live and properly put together. My name is Nathan Kwao. Once again, many thanks for watching. We'll catch you at another time. Do enjoy the rest of your day and keep watching Citi TV.